And again, this is something you probably have heard somewhere else before. I just want to take it to a different level and apply it to real-world business. There's a cycle of beliefs, of how we form what I call limiting beliefs. And on the other side, you have the empowering, right? So you always have the yin and the yang. Empowering beliefs lead you to success, to feel great. You have the disempowering beliefs, make you feel alone and disconnected. They keep you living a very small life. And what a belief really is, it's something that you just really believe to be true. You're so certain that it's true, and it's not a fact of life, but it sits below the surface of belief, and it disguises itself as a fact of life. Here's how it works in business and in taking action and selling and as, you know, are you an entrepreneur or not? Do you think you're entrepreneurial material? We all start off on day one of our lives, and we have what's called pure potential. We're capable of anything, unless some, God forbid, there's a tragedy, we're born a certain way. Everyone in this room, you're capable of anything on day one. Then comes day two of your life, and things start to go awry a bit, right? Your parents start to say, you see things your parents do, you hear things they say, money's hard to make, rich people are greedy, and you start to hear stuff, and from that you form beliefs, but the way you form the strongest beliefs is by taking actions. So watch what happens. You go out into the world as you grow up and you start taking action. And based on the result, because you can get either a positive result or a negative result. Let's say you get a positive result, things go really, really well. You go out and you try to sell something. And the first day in the job, the first result, they buy the whole thing. You're like, oh my God, I'm a good salesman. And that forms the seed of a belief that I'm a natural salesman. Conversely, let's say you go out there and they tell you to go out and give this speech, like go in third grade, give a published speech in front of the class, and you totally bomb. You didn't prepare, you didn't know what to say, you got some butterflies in your stomach, and you go up there, you freeze up, the kids start to laugh, so here you get a negative result, and the belief that forms is, I'm not good at public speaking. What happens next is a vicious cycle, because now that you say I'm not good at it, you start to cut off your potential. Because next time you go and take action, you'll take a bit less action. You're certainly not going to study up on, unless you're a very rare breed. You're going to shy away from the things that make you feel bad, the negative result. So you take less action the next time. Does the result get better or worse? Which one? Worse, right? Worse? What is it? The belief grows stronger, cuts off more potential. Next time you take action, the results are dismal, and on and on. Before you know it, you're living a very small life with these limiting beliefs. What limiting beliefs do? They're the silent governors, the silent killers of success. They stop you from charging forward when you should, and they cause you to pull back when you shouldn't. A metaphor is, just imagine a Ferrari, a beautiful cherry red Ferrari, beautiful chassis, sleek as hell, 12 cylinders, 4 valves per, 450 horsepower. It can go 200 miles per hour, but if there's a governor on the engine stopping the flow of gas, I don't care how fast it could go, it's not going over 55. That one limiting belief stops you from being all you can be. And guess what? We all have them. We all have them. If you don't think you have one, guess what? You just found your first limiting belief. I don't have it. You all have them. There's 6 of them I want to go through very quickly here because they're so destructive for success. And when we have more time, these are the ones we want to just root out and replace with empowerment. Here they are. If I get rich, I'll become greedy. This is one we typically heard from our parents. Let me just tell you the bottom line. There's a line in the movie that Leo says, and it's pretty funny. He says, money makes you a better person. Right? I didn't write that. I don't believe that's true. Here's what money is. Money is like alcohol. It makes you more of what you are. If you're an asshole, it makes you a bigger asshole. You ever see a guy get drunk who's an asshole? He's a gigantic ass, right? If you're a great, fun-loving person, a generous, money gives you the life of the party, and you're giving away more, right? It magnifies you. But the belief that if I'm rich, I'll become greedy, maybe it came from your parents, maybe it came from a religious situation, and once that takes your up seed inside you, it stops you from taking action. Does that make sense? Yes? Louder, yes? Raise your hand, yes? Hands up. Good. Number 2, money doesn't matter to me, or I don't care about money. Guys, let me just tell you something. If you have this belief, I can promise you one thing, you will never have any money. You'll always be broke. You know why? Here's this. Anybody, no, don't raise your hand. Anybody here who's in a relationship with someone and you want to get rid of them, Shh, don't raise your hand. I'm going to tell you how. Every day for the next 30 days, wake up to your partner and say, I don't really care about you. See how long they stick around. Give them a week. They're gone. What do you think happens with money if you keep saying, I don't care about money? It doesn't matter. You'll never have it. It never sticks around. We don't have things in our life that don't matter to us. We don't get them. They don't come. We don't attract them. We don't go towards them. Money matters. Bottom line. You know when you're in an airplane and no one likes this part of the ride. It's when you're about to, say if those masks come down, right? If you're out there and there's a depressurization, right? And the masks come down, what do they say? They say, put your own mask on first, even before your own kid. Everyone get that? Yes? Raise your hand, yes? Why? Because you can't help anybody if you're not in shape, you're not strong. Your money allows you then to help everyone around you. You can't help people when you're poor and you're unempowered. You can't do shit. You're like, you see this commercial, the Easter seals. You want to give, I'll give $1.75. Thanks, that's very nice of you. I'd rather give $100 grand because you made $2 million last year. Which one's better, the second, yes? You get it? Money gives you the ability to be generous, to make a difference, to be the person that donates to the hospital, the x-ray. It doesn't matter what it is. This idea that money is greedy or it doesn't, it's bullshit. I'm not entrepreneur material. This is one that typically happens either from the time you're very young because you saw your parents doing things, operating a certain way, and typically our beliefs are very much like our parents, or they're the exact opposite. Me, I went the exact opposite as my parents, but it goes either way. The way this belief forms most of the time is when you have a negative experience. You go out, you start a business, and you fail. And people say, oh, don't use that word, use results. No, fucking you failed. You went out of business, you lost your money, it didn't work out, you were embarrassed, you felt like crap. Who's ever been there? Raise your hand. Anybody here? I have. Many times. It only takes 1 or 2 successes to make up for all the failures. But I failed, and I felt like crap afterwards. In fact, the first time I failed miserably before I learned how to fail elegantly, I was in the meat and seafood business, and it was so awful that when I was faced with the idea of starting my next business, the stock market, I almost didn't do it. I felt that bad. I said, maybe I'm not entrepreneur material. That was after starting 5 businesses from the age of 8. 1 failure, bam. I said, maybe I'm not entrepreneur material. That's a very destructive belief. Everybody is capable of being an entrepreneur, and even if you work for somebody else, you need to be thinking about developing a second source of income. Start thinking entrepreneurially. Multiple streams. We'll get there later. Does that make sense? Yes? Yes. Louder. Yes? Hands up. Yes? Good. Raise your hand. Get some energy. Next, selling is evil. Well, my father thought that. Guess what? He was always broke. Loved my dad. Thankfully, I made my parents secure. I made them wealthy. My dad worked for me. Crazy bastard. Loved him to death. You saw the movie, right? Mad Max. He's a trip. But the bottom line is this. Here's the deal. My father thought that selling was evil. Do you have door-to-door salesmen here in London? You have them here? Is it a popular thing? Yes or no? In the U.S., there's lots of door-to-door salesmen. When the door-to-door salesman would knock on my door, my father would take out a shotgun. He wanted to shoot him. Hated him. I saw that, and I went the other way, but very often you pick up that belief. I'll have to sacrifice everything for hard work, and the world happens to me. The last one's a doozy. This is the ultimate destructive belief for a success-oriented person. If you think you're a creature of circumstance, good luck. Try to get ahead in this world. Because you're going to do 3 things. Number 1, you're going to play what's called the blame game. You blame, blame, blame. You blame your partner, you blame the government, you blame the system, you blame the economy, you blame the bastards on Wall Street, you blame the media, you blame everybody but who? Who? You never blame yourself. You never look inside because that's part of your story. The first thing you do is you blame. The second thing you do is you justify. You start saying things like, I don't really care about money. It doesn't, I'm okay as I am. Rich people are greedy, and you start to justify, and then you do that. You poison the environment for yourself. You can't succeed when you have those beliefs. The third thing you do is you complain. You start to complain, and I'll focus on that one later. Those are just 6 beliefs. The idea when we have more time is you have to attack your limiting beliefs. Everyone's got 3 or 4 that are yours, that belong to you, and they undermine you, and they hold you back. You know what I had? I had one. Here was one that I had. My past will always haunt me. How about that? When I was first going out there, I was embarrassed. I thought, I could never go out and get hired by banks and insurance companies. Last year I worked for Wells Fargo, so everyone, right? And all around the world. But if you would have asked me, I'd say, oh no, I would give you all the reasons why. Everyone get that? I broke through it. Yes, that makes sense? Louder, yes? I broke through it, but it held me back for a while. I probably would have launched a bit earlier. We all have them. Give yourself a score. If you feel, as you're sitting here today, that you have lots of limiting beliefs,